Okay, today we are going to talk about second language acquisition. So far, you know about methodology, different techniques, methods for teaching, teaching a language. And now also you study about first language acquisition, what we mean, what is the impact, and what are the steps for teaching, for learning the first language or mother tongue. Today we are going to talk about second language. Can you tell me what's the difference between second language and foreign language? Okay, so second language is a language that outside in the society also people use it for communication, like English in Canada or North America. Maybe at home, the first language is Chinese, but outside it's English. So students, the children of the family, the Chinese family, they go to school, they learn English, and they have the opportunity to communicate in English outside the class. So that's second language. A foreign language is like Pakistan, that everybody speaks Urdu or Pashto at home, even at school or at work or in the street, but also they learn English. So English is a foreign language. They don't have the opportunity to use the language in their communication outside the school.
English can't be a second language for us. It will be foreign language for us.
In Pakistan, I guess it's a foreign language because many people speak Urdu.
All
Yeah, am
right.
I right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not many
Most of
people
the
speak
people, yeah.
English.
Most
Yeah,
of the people speak Urdu.
so it's foreign language. You're right. So, what learning a language means to you? What's that? I'm learning language. What it means?
For communication purpose, to communicate throughout the world.
Thank you. That's right. And it's an active process. It's not passive, just memorizing bunch of vocabulary or mechanically do structure parts and then say, okay, I'll learn this language. It's impossible. You memorize a dictionary and can use that language in conversation. Maybe you can understand it somehow. Maybe you can read something and understand it because you know a bunch of new vocabulary. But usage, definitely you face problems. So language learning is an active process that begins at birth and continues throughout life. Based on what we discussed and what Chomsky said, that all children are born with the ability to learn language. The students learn languages as they use it to communicate their thoughts, feelings, and experiences and establish relations. That's right. What is creative learning to you? What do you think? Creative learning, when you hear it. Do you have any ideas for creative learning?
Creative learning is like you just learn with not only with the speaking and writing, you have to introduce the language with other things as well. There might be some tools and techniques so that you can learn the English better or you can learn other language better.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So basically, creative learning develops the creativity skills of learners and they become open-minded, constructively inquisitive, able to harness imagination, able to identify and solve problems, and developing creative approaches to learning. Basically, the last two items refers to two C's of those four C's of 21st century, which are critical thinking and creativity. In creative learning, we work on learners' autonomy. So students actually have responsibility for their studies. So they try, they Google, they search, they communicate in pairs and in groups. They have brainstorming, they have discussion. They have discussion, all of them. And they think about it. They think about it. They do projects together in that language. So it's more, they enjoy it more and it's more fun for them, definitely. Oops, sorry. So basically, it's like a process. It's a live process for learning a language. I don't know why I cannot see it properly because something happened here. Okay, now it works. Yeah, I guess so. Yep. Yes, it works. Okay, thank you. I couldn't see my own slide. So they are interactive as in pairs and in groups. Okay, they are interactive, and the environment of the class is very different, and it is active. And people, I mean, students are conscious what's going on in the class. What are they doing? What's the process? They understand they're learning something, and they can assess themselves, and they have self-assessment, and they can say how well they have learned it. So they are conscious. That is creative learning. During the course, we will discuss, already you have webinars, how to teach creatively and how to make your students active. And you're going to have more webinars on this part, practical part, of course. What is a living language to you? What it means? A living language. Any ideas?
No idea. I can guess it only.
Okay, come on, make a guess. Why not?
Okay, living language may be the language that you live with it, the your mother tongue that you started it, and you think in that language. You do everything in that language. Maybe I don't have any idea about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, I don't know what it said. So, a living language, English, choose what it said. Okay, give me a minute. I need to stop it and share it again because I don't know what happens, but I cannot see my slide. Give me a minute, please. Thank you. So a living language is one that the students learns to think in it. It's living, means they can use it. It's not a dead language. It's not gone. See people use it like English. I can say it's huge usage of English in the world. That's a living language. So they can think in it. The student learns to deal with experiences. They can talk about their experience in this language. The principles of grammar allow them to multiply their experiences over and over again. So they can talk about past, present, even their future thoughts, experiences, feelings, aims, and it's a huge or a variety. It's variety structures that confidentially they can talk about what they want to talk about. The important thing about grammar in living language is changing the structure makes it more meaningful, and it gives more meaning to the context and help students or help people to convey better and and they are more understandable and more meaningful to others. So by using a living language, they can talk about their thoughts, since many people can understand it. Many people can understand it. So the phrase of living language is a language that you use a lot across the world. Another aspect which is very important in learning a second language is motivation. I know you studied about motivation with Daniel. So who can tell me what is motivation? Do you have any ideas about motivation? Motivation helps you to reach to your goals. Try so hard to get to your goals. It gives you ideas. Mhm. And you can have a better performances, and you feel more successful when you are motivated to learn something. Even you achieve a little bit of your goal. If you learn something, it gives you feeling of success and you feel more successful. And when you have motivation, you even support the group that you're working with. You support the activity of the class. Am I right? Yeah. You support everything in the environment that you are studying, actually, because you really like to learn it. You really like to do this job. When you have motivation for your teaching, it happens the same. So you try so hard. You try so hard to have a fruitful class. So having motivation is the first step of learning anything. And as you know, we have different kinds of motivation. Can you remember them? Extrinsic and intrinsic, yes? And also kind of extrinsic is integrative. So intrinsic motivation comes from inside the learner. They want to do the activity for their own reasons. You want to teach English because you like English, because you want to use the language that you study whole your life. You want to teach English because you like to help people to communicate and broader view. That is something inside. Extrinsic motivation comes from outside. Students do it to please others, or because they're told they need to do it. Like many students, many children, many adolescents, they come to school or they come to language schools because their parents said it's very useful. When you're grown up, you really need this language. So you have to learn it. So that's why they come. Or they come to the class because they keep coming to the class because they like the environment, they like their teacher. So it's something outside than inside them. Integrative motivation, which is similar to extrinsic, in that the pressure comes from outside, but the driving force is the desire to be part of a group. All the students of the class in school go to English class or go to Spanish class. So I want to be in their group. So I just follow them. And I go to that Spanish class or English class. It's like the girls, children, Girls that they want the same hairband as their friends, or they see their friends in the birthday party, all of them wears this puffy pink dresses, and they say they love to wear one of those because they want to look like them. So it may happen, and actually I can say it is common that many students come to the class because of their friends. Since group of friends study English, they go on to study English. Group of friends study, for example, Arabic, they go on to study Arabic. They just want to be in the group or in the band. So we have intrinsic, extrinsic, and integrative motivation, which is part of extrinsic. Okay, I put some examples for you here. Can you decide in which column you can fit in? Intrinsic, extrinsic, or integrative? Intrinsic inside, it's fun. I like to do this. Extrinsic outside, my mother says it's important. Integrative, my friend is doing it. So here, A to F, I want you to read them and then put it in the correct column. Everyone else understands this. I don't like people saying things I don't understand. I enjoy doing this. I need this for my exam. It's great when the teacher says, well done. My teacher will be upset if I don't do this. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think, then tell me, okay? Go ahead. Thank you. Now let's check it out. So it's fun. I enjoy doing this. It's great when the teacher says, well done. I like it when the teacher said, well done. So the old motivations comes inside. It's intrinsic. Extrinsic, my mother says it's important. I need this for my exam. My teacher will be upset if I don't do this. So I do this because I don't want my teacher gets upset. So that's extrinsic. Integrative, my friend is doing it. Everyone else understands this. I don't like people saying things I don't understand. I mean, they speak in a language in the class that I don't understand it. So I'll go to that institute and I'll learn it because I want in their band. That's integrative. Each one, sometimes they come to the class because of the force of their father, or their parents. That's fine. That's fine. That's extrinsic. They have the motivation. The thing is, you keep that motivation in the class as a teacher. And many students, especially children, and I can say even adolescents, go and study many subjects because of their teachers. That's fine. Still, they have motivation. But usually adults do the studying or learning because of intrinsic motivation. There is a need to do that. So either that's okay. We just need motivation, any kinds, to learn something. Also, there is another aspect that we need to consider, the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher. So teacher has different roles in the class. It's not always teaching. We don't teach all the time because we want to motivate our students, because we want to encourage our students. Sometimes we want to get the feedback and to give feedback and reflect. Sometimes we always consider learners' autonomy. We want to encourage our students to take responsibility. So we just monitor them. So we have different roles. I'm gonna give you 1 or 2 minutes. Please look at different roles of the teacher. Look at the words about this table: assessor, controller, expert resource, language guide, listener, organizer, provider of input, and reflector. Then read these sentences and match it with the sentence. For example, the teacher puts learners in pairs. What role does the teacher have when puts learners in pairs? The teacher encourages learners to participate. What's his role or her role? The teacher finds material for the class to use. The teacher makes sure the learners are doing the task. The teacher answers the learners' questions. The teacher helps learners work out grammar rules for themselves. The teacher checks the learners' homework. The teacher thinks about how the lesson has gone. So 1 minute think, please. Okay, I'm gonna review that. So, okay. So as an organizer, the teacher puts learners in pairs. You organize your class. You choose who works with whom in the class. You set the pairs. The teacher encourages learners to participate. You give them prompts. You don't give the answer. You help them to find the answer. So you give prompts. So on that time, you are a prompter. You find material for the class to use because you know their need and the aim of the class. So the teacher finds material for the class, provider of input. So you give input. Either you email it, flip it to the class before the class, or maybe after the class. Email it or share it or give the link, or you have a forum, school forum. So you put it somewhere and give the link and students follow it. Or in some sites like Kahoot, they have the link and then you share it with the students and they can follow and find the material. The teacher makes sure the learners are doing the task. Controller, when you monitor your students and just checking you're on the right track, or you control everything goes properly. The teacher answers the learners' questions. So as an expert resource, I don't want to say a teacher should know everything. Everybody knows everything. That's the saying. So, but we have to be prepared for the material. We have to study for the material. We have to have our lesson plans. So that's what I mean by expert resource. The teacher helps learners work out grammar rules for themselves. That's language guide. Guide them. The teacher checks the learner's homework. Assess, or you assess your students. We need to assess our students. So how else we can understand that they get to the aim, terminal aim, terminal objective? Have they achieved it? How can we understand it? So we need to assess our students. And reflector, the teacher thinks about how the lesson has gone. Then you start thinking, which parts they need to practice more, which parts has they already know that, so I don't want to put more time on it. So that's reflection. I personally recommend you reflect on your teaching every day, every session that you have a class. Just after it, you start reflecting. How was my class? How was it? And usually what is the process of my class, how it goes. So you reflect on your teaching. Is that clear enough? Do you have any questions so far? Hi, Selena.
No, not now. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so talking about the roles of teacher, here is the questions. Now, Do you have any ideas what are stages of second language acquisition?
Target language at all.
Mm-hmm.
What we call lower beginner, upper beginner, A1, A2, B1, lower intermediate, and upper intermediate, B2 or advanced, C1, C2.
So do you have any ideas what's the difference between these levels?
Yeah, so the content, so is talking especially about, in my case, foreign language. So each level will identify the content that will be delivered. So A1 will be certain content, basic tenses, present tense mostly, depending on the if it's the Common European Framework for Languages or any other standards, international standards. Right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Thanks. So the first stage is pre-production stage. This stage is also called the silent stage, like the first language, the first year, almost I can say that was the silent stage. At the stage, there's more understanding rather than actual use of the language. They listen a lot, okay? Then early production stage, it means that they know up to 1,000 words, not a lot, but they can make communications, but it's very limited, like beginners or starters. Then when they get to the stage that they acquire vocabulary up to 3,000 words, so they can communicate by putting the words in short phrases, speech emergence stage. So learners tend to use the language purposefully. May drink water. They understand when they want to ask for permission, they say, may I? But still, they may not be grammatically correct. So it's like elementary, pre-intermediate, as Selena said. Then they get to intermediate fluency, which is B1, back to the common reference of European. So at this stage, learners typically have a vocabulary of as many as 6,000 words. They usually acquire the ability to communicate in writing and speech using more complex sentences. Finally, they get to advanced fluency stage. So it takes most learners at least 2 years as a second language, not foreign language. Second language is a stage that they can practice it outside the class and in the society. So at least 2 years, maybe more. It even happens to 10 years that they become advanced fluent in the language. So they know the language very well. They can use different structures and they can go through difficult discussions and they use expressions, a new language, and they're very fluent and accurate. Good. I'm gonna show you the table for European reference just before 2 slides. So there are some principles in learning second language that it should be meaningful. It should be meaningful for the students. They shouldn't learn it robotically, mechanically, but meaningful. And it should be connected to their real life. The content should be meaningful and based on their experience and their understanding. I want to give you an example. For example, for teaching to adolescents, the book should be for adolescents, not for children, not for adults. I can give you an example for English. When you want to teach English to adolescents, you need to use books like Got It course, or um, there is another one for Teen to Teen, for example, Teen to Teen. The course books which are designed for adolescents, not Let's Go or just what was the next one? Family Friends or Big Fun. No, these are for children, and not even Top Notch or American File or Speak Out. These course books are for adults. So when you want to change, when you want to change or to choose course books for students, the age is very important, and is the course book designed for that age, because it should be meaningful. The content should be meaningful. And the anticipation or reward, that's good to know, because we always talks about assessment. So what if I get a good mark? What if I can pass this? What if I learn better than last term? So it's good to know for the rewards. It works. It works, especially for children and adolescents. Intrinsic motivation. So we give them knowledge is very important. Why I learned this language and what is beneficial about it, or why it's useful. So when you give them the knowledge, it brings up intrinsic motivation. Self-confidence. So we encourage our students to have a better self-confidence of using that language. The language culture connection. Wherever you teach, the culture is important, because you can see the impact of culture on learning. So it's good to know about their culture and background, and even their first language. Communicative competence. So there are opportunity to use that language, oral or written. Give them feedback. So when we want to give students feedback, we should understand what is the problem, diagnosis, what is the error, what's the problem they have, what about their mistakes, and then analyze it, why it happens. So to improve it, what should they do? We need to prepare materials for them to learn it, This is the way that they can correct themselves. Otherwise, how could they correct themselves? Which it's just like reading the writing, and it said, okay, this time is much better than the previous time, but still you have to work on it. Thank you. Good. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work. What does good mean? So what are my problems? How can I get better? That's all I can do. So the treatment is also important. So we have said, okay, you still have problems for punctuation. You don't know where to use comma and period. Also, the structures of the sentences. You have problem in tenses. So you have to study this part. I give you this worksheet. So that's a treatment. Should be cut and clear. And then teachers should provide material for the students to improve. Now, here I have some words. I put some stages actually. Just tell me, is it related to L1 acquisition or L2 acquisition or both? So 1 minute, look at it. Telegraphic speech goes to L1, yep. Speak emergence, to start to speak. It could be both. Imitation, they imitate. Mostly it happens in, of course it could be both, but mostly happens in L1, you're right. Caregiver role, like mother has very special role. Yeah, now it is clear. That is L1. Creativity, definitely both. Socializing, yep, both. Nearly fluent, it could be both, but in L1 is faster. Motivation, it could be both. No correction, no correction. It usually happens for L1. Yes, we usually don't correct children. They learn it because they imitate. And repetition, both, maybe L2 more. Silent period, yes, both. Yeah, but in L1 is longer. And reformulate, yeah, both, maybe L2. Pre-production and early production. Yes, so it could be both. Now, let me show you something. Give me a minute, please. Yep. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yeah. Yes, I can see.
Okay. So that's it. Common European Framework of Reference, CFR levels. That Selena mentioned it, and you can see it at the back of, back of the cover, back cover of the books. Usually have several CFR levels. So explain here. So basically A1, A2 refers to beginners, B1, B2 intermediate, B2 mostly intermediate, and B1 B1 intermediate, B2 upper intermediate. A1 elementary, A2 pre-intermediate. So pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate. C1 and C2. C2 is proficiency, and C1 like advanced. Like advanced. Let me share that. You can, simply you can Google CEFR. And even it's in a PDF format with all details, and you can download it. Good?
May I ask you, I have a question
Sure.
related to, in comparison with the ACTFL. So there's a difference in.
No, it's a midnight.
Okay. Now
I want to ask one
Yes,
thing.
please,
May
go
I?
ahead. Sure.
I'm
Right here. I want to explain it right here. Let me open Canvas so we can see Canvas. So there you go. That is Canvas. So here it comes to modules. First language, second language. So here is the first of all, let me show you the second language. So here is it talking about second language. There are videos. There are videos about motivation. This is the video of Chomsky, Noam Chomsky, about his theory of learning and creative learning, motivation. You have to write this is assignment 1, essay. You should write one essay. You have a choice here. Please write or type them on A4 paper with the margin, of course. And the font size is 12. You choose one of them, okay? It has to be between 2 to 5 pages. It could be 2 is enough. And then you email it to info@tesolcanada.org. So there should be one essay, but here is the choice. Describe your experience on learning a language. You can talk about yourself. How did you learn English?
all right.
Or Spanish? Or then here it said it helps you through questions that, what about different skills? What about the gaps? What difficulties did you have? And these things. Or you can explain with example how language varies according to the context in which it is spoken or written. So we can talk about the language, which is very different. Like Arabic, the way that they speak is different from their written form. When I read Arabic, I can understand it. But while they're talking, I don't understand it. So that's it. What is meant by appropriacy in language use? Or discuss the language's communication. What are the principles on which foreign language teaching is based? So you can go through the question, but you have to write one essay, 2 to 5 pages. One. Yes, Bushra, you have a question?
There will be some classes of writing, or there will be no class of writing,
So
because
writing,
I'm
yes, you do.
desperately,
You have a class for writing. Yes.
yeah, because I desperately want to take that writing class, because somehow I want to learn how to write in a professional way.
Actually, you are going to have, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 sessions on how to teach writing to your students. But also, you have a session with Anna Patricia on writing. Yes, or maybe 1 or 2, how to write your research. But as you know, this is a course for teachers, but you're going to have a session with Anna Patricia. Don't worry. Yes, and she's talking in details how to make a paragraph or how to elaborate a paragraph and write your article or essay. Yes, you're going to have it. Back to your question, which was about your midterm exam. Guys, where's the midterm exam? Where is midterm exam? In the last session, I could find it. So there you go. Yes. So midterm exam, methodologies and language skills. Look. So when you click on it, you have the instructions.
Look, there's the ambulance.
It's not open book. It's not open book. And 120 minutes. Okay. Would you kindly, guys,
Check
can
to see an
you mute
ambulance.
your microphone? Okay, good. So you have about 2 hours. It includes the methodologies and linguistic part that we studied. The stages for first language, the stages for second language acquisition, and different methodologies. Multiple choice questions, which has one answer only. And there are some questions that you have to write, long answer questions. So it includes teaching methodologies, language skills, linguistic theories on first and second language. Please review Module 1 and Module 2 in Canvas. So the next midterm exam is here, and you receive an email as well. See? It's on, the total market is 100%, but in overall, it's 11 points. It's 11 points. When you receive, I guess you receive an email. You receive an email, but I myself also have the date for your midterm exam. Let me check it out. So your midterm gonna be on November 20th. It's gonna be November 20th. And by that time, also you would have sent your essay that we talk about it. 2 pages, 2 to 5 pages. So it's going to be in 6 days. In 6 days. Okay? Any other questions?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. What about the others? Do you have any questions? Good. So wish you all the best with your studies, with your assignments. Don't forget to go through those modules for grammar. Helps you to improve even in your writing. And just get familiar with different structures because you need to write research. Okay, you have an you have a long essay to write at the end. You have paper to write. So it's good to go through them and review the grammar points. See you soon. Take care. And if you have any more questions later, no worries. Just send an email to TESOL and you will receive the answer very soon. Okay, everyone? Take care.
Okay, good night.